Okay, so we're going to look at textual evidence and inference and kind of using those, and we'll have some things later on this week, and I think we're going to make some assumptions about pictures and things like that, about and looking at pictures, looking at people, and at least that's what I'm trying to think about doing. So I'm also, just as a reminder for the people in the classroom, this is not a time to be on cell phones and other devices, because it's really irritating when I really don't want to feel like I'm wasting my time, to be point blank with you. All right. So, annoying as it is, that's just, we have some things to do. All right. So, on textual evidence, you took this quiz. I underestimated how much time, or overestimated how much time that you would take on this. Should not have been long. The textual evidence practice quiz, I'm going to pull that up real quick. Click on the link. And try to go through it. I should probably go through it as if I'm a student, and maybe that will be a little bit easier. I'll click on preview. I have not actually done this before, so this is a first attempt, because I never really go over the quizzes like this. And so again, this is a practice quiz. If you have taken it and thought you would get 100 on it, that's good. I'm not grading it. It's not going to Power School or anything like that. So. But anyway, so the first question really is asking, what is a inference? Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit, make sure we can see the whole thing. All right, true or false? To make an inference, we use evidence from the text and our prior knowledge. True or false? It's true, right? I mean, we have to use a little bit of our prior knowledge. I've been talking about that pretty much all semester long, kind of the way we were raised, that helps determine how we see things and how we read things, how we interpret things. So prior knowledge doesn't necessarily have to be like the quadratic formula from heart and stuff like that, or any of that. It's just kind of what you know. So that's going to be true. All right, true or false? Sometimes we have to read between the lines. Authors don't always give us explicit information. We need to use prior knowledge to understand the text better. And again, that's true. I mean, that's what all our perception is. Authors always don't give us everything, and I think we recognize that. So all that is part of recognizing that we too bring something to the table when we read. That's why I keep saying that in English, there are no absolutes. If you can back what you are saying up with textual evidence and part of what you believe, then it's worth considering. Sometimes we can be a little bit far off, and then we can make the corrections. Or if some of the things that your prior knowledge might not be correct, we can correct that if it's if it's prior knowledge, or something. We can show you evidence where, hey, maybe this wasn't necessarily true, and maybe that will change your perception of it. But that's all part of growing up, and all part of being responsible. We do that too. News agencies really do need to do that. They're supposed to. They call it fact checking, and a lot of times we don't fact check. We use kind of what we surmise or our knowledge, and sometimes we get it wrong because what we know is sometimes wrong. I'm guilty of that as well. I'll make an assumption about something. I haven't really fact checked it. I hadn't gone back and done it, and so my impression of it is kind of wrong. That's why I want to look at pictures later on, because we do the same thing looking and judging people. I mean, where does this person come from? We look at them, the way they are dressed, their attitude, maybe what they're doing, their surroundings, and we say this person comes from Mars, or something like that. So a lot of times we're dead wrong. All right. So in real life, true or false, people can back up an opinion about a text with textual evidence. People who can back up an opinion about a text with textual evidence are taken more seriously than people who can only give a reason of just because. Is that true? I mean, that's pretty much true. I mean, we see it all the time. You do it with your friends. If you know and can say where you got your information from, usually that gives you a sense of credibility. And that credibility is what we're looking for. But if you're just saying it, what I really can't stand is people who really they can't back it up. They might have heard it from someplace, but it's maybe not true. And then when you go to correct them, or when you go to state your opinion and offer textual evidence, the person either becomes more loud, or louder shouting, or they fight back at you, or they call you names. Have you seen that in our public forum before? You're right. So, and that comes from individuals that we're supposed to respect and have a lot of confidence in. But, hey, they have a responsibility too to find the correct evidence, no matter what they are doing. So anyway, people who can back up an opinion about a text or anything with evidence are taken more seriously than people who can't. So keep that in mind. That's very important. All right. So question 4: what is inference? And you're given 2 choices. Something that you think is true based on information you have, or is it directly written in the text? Right. An inference is something you think is true. An inference is never solid. It's never absolute. It's never actually given to you. If it was given to you, then it would probably be a definition or something like that. We can call it a definition. So an inference is something you think is true based on information that you've seen in the text. So question 5, I like the story. Just to cover it in a nutshell, she was running from this long gray object that was in the ocean, and she was screaming. All right, so we can infer what that thing was not a surfer, wave, swimmer, or shark, because she got up on shore and everybody was laughing at her. It wasn't a shark. Because normally, she was probably thinking shark. And I probably should have read the whole thing because of the video. I'll do this one on question 6. I'll read it. Rosario was enjoying her vacation in the California sun. She was lying on a raft in the ocean. This was perfect, Rosario thought. There was no noise, no children screaming, no horns honking, and there were no papers to grade. All she could hear was the crashing of waves onto the beach. Then she saw something long and gray coming towards her on an approaching wave. She thought this could only be one thing and started yelling for help. She paddled back to shore as quickly as she could. She made it to shore in one piece, but she realized that many people were laughing at her. So here's the claim. Someone says, Rosario normally lives a busy and chaotic life. So it's asking you which is the strongest text evidence to support this claim. So what do you think? She looked at the beauty of the ocean. She thought this could only be one thing. She was enjoying her vacation in the California sun, or there was no noise, no children screaming, no horns honking. All right, so she normally lives. We were not told about her life. I can make an assumption that she's probably a teacher, grading papers. All right, that's my textual evidence. No noisy children. She's probably not a high school student or not a high school teacher. Probably an elementary teacher. Again, textual evidence. It didn't tell us that, but we want the strongest text evidence to support the claim that she lives a busy, chaotic life. And in this case, there was no noise, no children screaming, no horns honking. All right, question 7. In 1829, Daniel Webster started a page program in the United States Senate. The pages are young people who work for the senators. For example, pages run errands and deliver messages. Pages are chosen by the senators of their home states. They must be 16 years old, have good grades, and show good leadership qualities. Pages live near the Capitol building and attend school. What a life, right? All right. They are excused from homework when the senators work overtime. Pages get paid, but the biggest reward is the experience of working in the Senate. Which of the following is an inference, not a fact? So select all that apply. So there were actually 2 things that you should have selected, not just one. All right, so pages are interested in government work. Did the article tell us that? It didn't tell us that, right? But we can make that inference because, honestly, in my experience, if I'm not interested in going up there, I'm not going to apply for that job, right? Okay, pages run errands for senators. That was stated in the article. That's a fact. So that's not one of the answers. It is an honor to be a Senate page. It's not in a fact, but part of the evidence that you can say they are excused from homework, pages get paid, but the biggest reward is experience of working in the Senate. I was trying to figure out something else too. Pages are chosen by the senators of their home states. So, I mean, it's an honor to be chosen. So, and then pages go to school. That's a fact. That was in the article. So the two answers should have been, it is an honor and the pages are interested. They're interested in government work and it's an honor to be a Senate page. So it's a two-part thing. Question 8, NASCAR, National Association of Stock Car Racing. In recent years, this organization has made some changes in its rules. For example, steel and foam cushioning has been placed around NASCAR tracks to better absorb impact of hurtling cars. Race car drivers must now wear special head restraints that limit their neck movement during sudden stops. Air filters have been added to race cars to keep carbon monoxide out of the cockpit. The tires also have straps now to keep the wheels from flying off during crashes. Which of the following is an inference that you can make from the text? Select all that apply. Drivers now wear head restraints. Race cars give off carbon monoxide. Race car drivers are sometimes hurt in accidents, and NASCAR's new rules make the sport less exciting to watch. All right, which of the following is an inference? All right, do they wear head restraints? Yes, that's a fact. It was in the article. Do NASCAR cars give off carbon monoxide? Yes, that's also in the article. Race cars to keep carbon monoxide out of the carpet. Air filters. All right, so that's not an inference. That's a fact. Race car drivers are sometimes hurt in accidents. They don't tell us that. They were, let's see. They've been placed around the tracks to better absorb the impact from hurtling cars, and race car drivers must now wear special head restraints. Yeah, there's nothing that says they get injured, but to have those type of protections in there, race car drivers are sometimes hurt in accidents. How about NASCAR's new rules make the sport less exciting to watch? It doesn't say that either, does it? So that is also an inference. Right or wrong is still an inference. Does it make it less exciting to watch? They still crash. Yeah. The drivers just walk away. So anyway, so there were actually 3 there that you could have answered that is an inference. All right. In 1920, William Potts created the first tricolor 4-direction traffic signal. It helps drivers stay safe at intersections. The very first 4-direction traffic light was installed at Woodward Avenue and 4th Street in Detroit, Michigan. Throughout the country, there are still a lot of systems for traffic lights and patterns in place. Since this could end up causing more problems for drivers, the Federal Highway Administration created the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. It's almost a mouthful. In 1935, that set uniform standards for all road signs, pavement markings, and traffic signals, requiring them to all use red, yellow, and green light indicators. Which of the following is an inference and not a fact? Detroit, Michigan had the very first 4-directional traffic light. It's a fact. It was in the article. All right. Mr. Potts was a brilliant man. We have to make an inference on that. So yeah, it's not a fact. They didn't say that. Detroit was the safest place to drive in 1920. It is an inference, right? They didn't say that, but you have to make that assumption because, hey, look, we have, we have that light, the things that were coming up. When was it placed? The very first in 1920. I would say that after 1920, once they had the traffic lights and stuff established in Detroit, so I mean I can make an argument that it wasn't the safest place to drive, but they made improvements. So I don't know. It's a good inference. So yeah, that should have been checked. Traffic lights use red, yellow, and green light indicators. That's a fact. All right, so the 2 middle ones, Mr. Potts and Detroit, should have been the answers to that. And the last question, Great Zimbabwe, a ruins located within the African country of Zimbabwe, sorry, I have a screen in front of my thing there, was a center of trade from the late 13th century to the middle of the 15th century. It was also the home of powerful rulers. Today, scientists are studying the walls found among the ruins. They are made of smooth granite and are about 35 feet high and 16 feet deep. No mortar or plaster was used in building in building them. Some archaeologists believe that the walls were built not for defense, but to inspire awe toward the rulers. Which of the following is an inference and not a fact? So the archaeologists, I wonder if that's an inference on their part, just based on the type of walls. I mean, if you think about it. All right, the walls of the Great Zimbabwe reach 35 feet high. Do they? Yes. So that's a fact. Great Zimbabwe is located in Africa. The African country is Zimbabwe. Yes, fact. The builders of the walls were skilled. That's an inference. Man, they did it without mortar, right? I mean, that's kind of huge. And then Great Zimbabwe is a place of historic value. Does it say that? It really doesn't. But we understand that it has a lot of value because of the type of builders that build that, the type of design and things that no mortar or plaster used in building something 35 feet high. I mean, that's huge. So we should do that project that says we can take a few sticks and build a bridge without using string or anything like that. Just put the sticks up there together and have no supports at all underneath, just the sticks. I saw that on YouTube and I thought that was really cool. All right, so look, this was really a simple quiz, and it probably did seem a little simple for you guys. But here's the point. Here's the point, and it's a huge point. All right, anything that we do in English, and anything that we do in our life, we have to back it up. So if we're making a statement on something, you will be more credible backing something up with facts, either from the text or from whatever you're talking about. If you just maybe hear something on the radio and just hear it in passing and make the statement to somebody, you don't come off very credible. I'm actually going to go and look up a couple of these things in here. Like one is for the that Zimbabwe thing is what I was really interested in. But what really got me was the NASCAR tires being held on by straps so they don't go flying off. I'm wondering about the engineering process on that. I'm thinking there's some sort of say that again?
It should be in the drive shaft.
Okay, so it's actually in the drive shaft to do that. So I was thinking, in my mind, I was picturing something strapped to the, I guess the hub or something like that of the wheel. So something's going to spin, but you have to have another spinning couplet inside to do that. Because if you do something that's not spinning a strap, eventually it's going to twist and can't go far. So I was just trying to figure out how it's going to work. So that's one of the things I might be interested in. All right, so it's 10 o'clock. We only have like 20 minutes left or whatever. So make sure that you're working on finishing all the things that you're supposed to have turned in for this class. This is the end of the 6 weeks on Friday. We're going to be very careful from now on going forward, especially about when we make and give answers, because we're going to have to make sure that we are giving textual evidence. So that's going to come up really quick. Tomorrow probably should be less of a review day, and Friday's going to be definitely a catch-up final, I wouldn't say final thoughts for the 6 weeks, but an opportunity for all of us to get caught up. So anyway, I'm going to kill this video because I know it's a long one, and we'll see you guys later.